You must know these things before moving from the UK to Australia. Now, some of you guys might already know that I moved from the UK to Australia when I was 21, and I spent 2 years in Australia and had the most amazing time. I definitely learned a lot during my time there. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 points of advice that you must know before you actually move to Australia to get the most out of your experience. So number one, the first point you should know is finding a job or a house will not happen overnight. I feel like on social media, I see so many people in Australia that want to move home because they've been looking for jobs for like a week, they can't find a job and they just give up and feel like they want to go home. But in reality, it takes a long time sometimes to find a job, multiple weeks. Same with finding a house. You really have to be chasing up when you're finding a house. You have to be sat there all day applying. I remember in Sydney being there for like 3 weeks, just constantly scrolling every single day, applying for jobs until I finally got one. And I feel like a lot of people aren't prepared to do that, and maybe they just don't expect that they've got to do that. They think that they can apply for 5 jobs and one of them is going to come back to them, but in reality, it's not the case. It can take a while, it takes a lot of patience, and it can be a bit of an uneasy time when you first move there, knowing that you've got to get all that sorted, but you've got to be patient and you've got to be pretty relentless with it. And I don't think a lot of people expect that before they move, because there's a lot of competition for jobs and even more competition for houses. A quick tip, maybe go for a house share. That might be a bit better. We found it so much easier getting a house share than getting our own place. Number two, the second point I would recommend you do is travel first before you settle down. This doesn't apply for everyone, but people on working holiday visas who are moving to Australia haven't really got a set plan yet. I would definitely recommend you travel first, because that way you're going to see which places you like the most, and yeah, you can settle in your favorite place. I didn't do this. This was a mistake, I think, which I actually made. We stayed in Sydney for the first like 4 months. I like Sydney for sure, but it was winter time, and looking back, maybe we just should have gone north, gone to like Queensland or something, and we could have had that beach, hot weather straight away. But we stayed in Sydney during the winter because we thought that's where we wanted to live. But looking back, maybe we should have like traveled a bit of the country and perhaps gone up north when it was winter, so we can still get the warm weather and stuff like that. So I would recommend researching, yeah, what time of year it is and doing a bit of traveling before you fully set up in the place that you want to live. Number three, an important point of advice is when you're looking for a house or a job, but I'm going to speak specifically about houses, because we made this mistake, and it is only look for houses on specific housing sites such as Domain, your flatmates, stuff like that, proper apps, proper legit websites. Do not go for your house on Facebook or anything like that, because we made this mistake in Adelaide. We actually found a share house on Facebook. It seemed all good at first. We were actually living with the landlords, which from personal experience, do not do that. It is a nightmare. But we ended up living with them, and they started introducing all these stupid rules halfway through it. We didn't have Wi-Fi for our whole time there. We also weren't allowed any aircon, even though it got to like 42 degrees. And we had a few disagreements with them. Eventually they actually kicked us out the house, and then we actually looked back at the contract and we saw that they actually faked the contract, because they weren't official landlords, because it wasn't done through the app, it was or a website, it was done on Facebook. And they basically printed the flatmates logo and put it on the corner of the contract. Completely illegal. But yeah, that is a reason not to rent on Facebook, because anyone could advertise and you can get completely ripped off. You could not get your bond back. You could, you know what I mean? We've had some nightmare landlord stories, which we can actually, I'll leave a link on the screen. Me and my girlfriend have a channel and we have done a video on house sharing abroad. We've had some nightmare landlord stories. That was probably one of the worst ones, maybe one of the worst. There's a few. Yeah, do not go for your house on Facebook. Definitely make sure it's an official site where the landlords have to be certified. Number four, when you get to Australia, get your Australian SIM card and your Australian bank account set up as soon as possible. This for a number of reasons. Definitely get your SIM card done first, because if you're applying for jobs and stuff like that, they need to be able to contact you on an Australian number, because you don't want to apply for a load of jobs and then think why they're not getting back to me when you've still got your UK SIM in. So definitely get that set up straight away. As well as this, I'd recommend getting your bank account set up as soon as possible, because I had an international bank card which I thought was fine, and then it came to me getting offered a job. Then I realised that they couldn't actually pay me onto my international bank card. They had to pay me into an Australian bank account. So then I had to apply for an Australian bank account, which took a week or two and actually delayed my start at work by about a week or two. And if I just got that Australian bank account set up from the start, then I wouldn't have had to delay my start at work. So definitely in the first couple of days, get your bank sorted and the SIM card sorted as well. I went with Vodafone for my phone, and I went with NAB for my bank account. And number 5, a point of advice which you should maybe be prepared for, is making friends can be difficult. Meeting people, making close friendships, to be honest. I think I had a really close friendship group back home, and we used to go out a lot. And I thought that moving to Australia, I was very quickly gonna end up with a similar friendship group within a couple of months. The reality is that did not happen. We definitely met people. We met lots of amazing people, had some great conversations and stuff, but because everyone's on their own journey, everyone's moving around, it's very difficult to make close friendships. I made maybe 1 or 2 close friendships in Australia, but even then, they're very temporary. Do you know what I mean? It's unless you're living in a place for... The problem that I had was we moved around a lot. If we'd stayed in one place for the whole 2 years, maybe I would have made some close friends. So it depends on what kind of journey you're on. You'll no doubt meet people. If you're going to the backpacker places, you're going to the hostels, stuff like that, you're gonna meet loads of people for sure. But actually making close friendships, it takes years sometimes to build proper close friendships, people you can trust. It takes years. When you're only in a place for like a few months at a time, the reality is you're not gonna make super close friendships. And I realized that after a while. We'd meet a lot of people, but actually having very close friendships, you know what I mean, I don't think I really made any really close friends. Made some good friends, no doubt, but nothing compared to my friends back home. So just be prepared for that. If you're if you really make the effort, you can make good friends. But from my experience, it was harder than I expected. So they are 5 things that you must know before you move to Australia. There's so much advice I can give on moving there, but this was from my personal experience and some things which I thought I'd point out before you actually move, or you guys might already be in Australia and have come across a few of these issues now, but this is mainly aimed at people who are planning to move or are moving very soon. Take all these points into consideration before you move so you're not in for any surprises. So yeah, if you're looking at moving to Australia and have any more questions, definitely leave them in the comments. I'll get back to them. If you want me to make a video on any questions you might have, I'm happy to do so. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the support recently. It's been pretty decent. Yeah, keep the channel going, keep the likes going, keep the comments going, and yeah, I'll see you very soon with another video.